Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. We have Donald Trump making some claims, and the claims are always, we are the best in everything. Good or bad, we are the best. We are the biggest and the brightest. In this case, he talks about the US's submarines versus the Russian and the Chinese submarines. Remember when he said he sent 2 submarines in an undisclosed location around Russia? Well, we have Mr. Medvedev giving him an answer when he makes his claims. Second topic. The United States of America is preparing for war. Well, that's a very bad news, not only for our victims, but for our own interests. I will explain why. And remember, when you have a drunk bully that buys more ammunition or updates his shotgun, not good for anybody in the parking lot, including not good for the bully himself. You know, accidents happen, especially when you're drunk. Then we have another article, another topic from the Russians. And the Russians obviously say, you know what, actually, I think Odesa and Mykolaiv belong to Russia. Well, I've been waiting for this for some time because if you speak with the Russians in Russia, they will tell you, of course we knew that Russia will try to take Mykolaiv Oblast from Ukraine and Odessa Oblast from Ukraine. I have a question though, because these guys made Odessa Oblast half being part of Romania. So are the Russians going to take Romania's part too? Well, we're going to find out. And then we go to the European Union, who will make a determination on what exactly they will do with the Russian stolen assets. They call it frozen. It's not frozen, it's stolen, but not stolen because if you remember, Putin said this is not stolen. This is a robbery. This is a robbery. Because if something is stolen, you're like, where's my goddamn whatever, my purse, or where is my wallet? In this case, you see the guy who took your wallet. He takes your wallet. It is not more, it's a robbery. Rather, it robs you of your property. So remember, when the European Union, and they themselves up big time with this situation, the rest of the world, the investors, see this. You did this to Russia, nuclear power, you will do it to me as well. Why should I invest? I have no more guarantees. I don't trust you. So that's good again for the Europeans. So the Europeans already determined that almost $5 billion be transferred out of the Russian money to Ukraine. I will explain, giving you a little analogy how this really works. His money, I take it and I give it to someone else based on international law. All right, let's start with the first one. Donald Trump. This is an article coming from whatever this is. Where is it? God damn it. Is this Live Mint? That's not what it is it? Is it MSN? Whatever. This is where it comes, and this is what Trump says. Trump boasts US is, and I'm quoting, 25 years ahead of Russia and China on submarines. Okay, so he said that in front of our military leaders, top military leaders. It's very dangerous what's going on here, my friends. It was that meeting of the generals. That's very dangerous. Very dangerous. You got over there an airplane right there. I say, oh my God, okay. Good for you. I'm guessing airspace thing. US President Donald Trump Tuesday, September 30th, highlighted his self-described peace-making abilities but acknowledged that major global conflicts remained unresolved. While he projected confidence in America's military strength, boasting that US was 25 years ahead of Russia and China on submarines. And I'm ending the quote. First question. When someone comes with these kind of things, why don't you ask them, why not 25 and 6 months? Why not 25, 6 months and 3 days and 5 hours and 20 minutes and whatever? Why don't you ask that? Why is not 26? years? Why not 24 years? Why is it 25? How did you calculate your exactly 25 years? It's a lie. It's a lie. When people come and tell you, man, I think I'm 3 times better than you. Okay, give me the empirical evidence, something that we can all verify, verifiable arguments. I would like to have them. Tell me. He's not going to give you anything because you can't just say 25 years. Why not 24? What do you think? It's unbelievable. So nevertheless, he boasts that because, you know, whatever Trump makes is the best, right? The best, including children. All right, let's go to Medvedev's answer. And this is funny as hell, the last part especially of his statement. Russia's Medvedev mocks Trump over lack of submarines near Russia. This is again October 1st. Remember, this is Reuters. Reuters must take a poop on this guy, and on this occasion they must like him. Why? Israel is taking everything it needs, so that means he's a good guy. If he says niet, that means he's a bad guy, and then the media will turn against him. Here it is. Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev mocked U.S. President Donald Trump, saying that U.S. states had not sent nuclear submarines to Russian shores as Trump had promised. And I will tell you how he made it. But in the meantime, let's make a joke on Medvedev. Trump on Tuesday cast Medvedev as, and I'm quoting, a stupid person, and said that he had moved a submarine or 2 to the coast of Russia. He said in August that he had ordered 2 nuclear submarines to be moved to the appropriate regions in response to threats from Medvedev. There was no threats from Medvedev. He just did it so he can show his backers that he is a fantastic guy. Now, this is what Medvedev says. Did you notice that every time Donald Trump doesn't like someone, or someone doesn't do what Trump wants him to do, he's stupid, he's fat, even if you're not fat, something wrong with you. Not with him, with you. And he goes personal, like he's a big beauty over there. Look at him. And then he always attacks like that. Now the next day, after he calls you stupid, if you agree, he will call you smart or brilliant. Who's this guy? Don't give me, this is business. I want people with backbones. Right? I don't want mollusks. Businessmen. Businessmen should stay in the business area. Okay? When I vote for someone to represent me, I don't vote for a mollusk. Right? It's gonna just be like very flexible. So let's see what Medvedev says. And I'm quoting. New episode of the thriller series, Medvedev said on X in English, and I'm quoting again. Trump once again brought up the subs he allegedly sent to the Russian shores, insisting they are very well hidden, end quote. And this is the joke. This Medvedev says, and I'm quoting, as the saying goes, it's hard to find the black cat in a dark room, especially if it's not there, end quote. Medvedev said, yeah, it's hard to find them. You see, inappropriate regions, okay, somewhere where only we know where they're at. Of course, only you, because it's strategically deployed. Remember, these 2 guys right here were, at one point, one still is, supposedly in charge of the biggest nuclear arsenals on this planet. Now, if the United States of America is still the superpower of this planet, okay, it is. I mean, good or bad for some, it is. And Russia is becoming back what it used to be, anything better than the Soviet Union garbage. I think it's clear when you look at these guys spatting like children in kindergarten that they're not better than us, my friends. Then why do we vote for them? Medvedev was also the president of the Russian Federation. Now, Medvedev now has balls, or at least he shows them to the rest of the world. Donald Trump plays with our balls, not fondles them. He plays with them, like volleyball. He plays with them. And he plays with your children's future, grandchildren's future, and so on, by doing certain things that I don't think we agree with completely. But hey, you can't agree with everything one does. All right, that gets me to the next one, which is United States of America must prepare for war. Against whom? The ones they will attack next. That's the answer. What's up, meow meow? Here it is, Russia Today. United States of America must prepare for war, end quote. Here, I see you. Pentagon chief says, Washington urgently needs more troops, weapons, and ammunition. Secretary of State Pete Hegseth said, the United States must prepare for war. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth had told the gathering a senior military commanders he called it a matter of utmost urgency, but did not name any specific adversaries America could face in the near future. So if you hear all this, how is this right there? You're 25 years, but this guy, your defense, Minister of Defense, Secretary of Defense says that we need it because we are kind of, and this is what he says. Now, George Orwell would be very proud of this situation. And I'm quoting, to ensure peace, we must prepare for war. Okay, all right. Now, I want to ask you, he says, pacifism is naive and dangerous. It is. But I'm asking you, okay, is this a general rule? To ensure peace, we must prepare for war. Is this general rule or applies only to you because you're special, remember? Because if it's a general rule, if tomorrow, let's say, China would make the same statement, or Russia, or I know, Iran, do you think that these guys will say, it's okay, man, we have to prepare? Yeah, it's your right. That's your right, because that's as the saying goes. What's going on over there? Nothing. All right. So, prepare for war. Against whom exactly? I tell you against whom. Against whomever the boss in the Middle East dictates, or whomever the interests who shackled this country dictate. Remember, the US military, NATO, and these baboons are just the military arm, the enforcer of the big clique of financial and economic interests. That's all. And we are their energy. We are the little hamsters, little guys that were running on that spinning wheel, providing them with our energy. Work, shutting up, supporting them with our children going to war, and so on. That's what they do. And they're over there. And remember, if the enemy shows that he's strong enough and starts making us, they don't care. Once they touch them a little bit, or their families, it's going to be peace. That's the way you do it. It's going to be peace. All right, let's go to the next topic. Russia wants Odesa Oblast and Mykolaiv. Surprised? No, not at all. Kremlin says many in Ukraine's Odesa and Mykolaiv regions want to link with Russia. The Kremlin said on Tuesday that there are many people living in Ukrainian southern region of Odesa and Mykolaiv who wanted to link their fate to Russia, end quote, but were afraid to speak out. So what do you think this is? Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov responding to a hypothetical question about what would happen if people in these regions were allowed to vote on whether to become part of Russia, provided no evidence in support of this statement. So let me tell you this. The media knows what it's doing, and that is provides politicians with the opportunity to make statements. Now, let's say Peskov would have showed up in front of everybody and say, hey, everybody, shh, I'm talking. Many people in southern regions of Ukraine, which is Odesa and Mykolaiv, would like to join Russia if they were allowed to vote. Everybody's like, why are you coming and making this statement? It sounds weird. Like, oh, what do you say? But if you answer a hypothetical given to you by one of your operatives, you make a statement and the Ukrainians are like, что казалось? What's going on? Everybody's like, stop, what? But the statement was made as an example. So it seems a little bit milder. And Peskov can hide behind, I was just asking a hypothetical. That's the way it is. Let me show you, that's the way it is. Let me show you where these oblast or regions are located. Because they have to take half of Odessa from Romania. I will explain. This is the map of Ukraine. Right there, this is where the contact line is. So this is Mykolaiv, this is the Black Sea, this is the baboons in Romania, this is Romania as well. They call themselves Moldova. So here you have. So this is Mykolaiv, or Nikolaev according to these Russians, and this is Odessa. You see this? Pak, pak, pak. Now, this part right here, just to know, was part of this right here. This is part of Bessarabia right here. Bessarabia is this little part who was part of Moldova, this little part. You see this? This was Moldova. Was cut in two and taken by Stalin, cut into, given to Ukraine, made a fictitious artificial land of Moldova with Moldovans from Romania anyway, and they also took Chernouts right here, which is northern Bukovina, this region, half in Romania, half in Ukraine. So when these guys, the Russians, will come to get Mykolaiv, they can take this shit how much they want. They probably will take this as well, and then they have to take this one. But this is Romania. No, this is Ukraine, you say. Well, which one is it? Nevertheless, they will do it. The Russians already want to go like this. You see? They want to cut it in two. This is their claim. Kiev, Paka, along the Dnipro River. Pak. But I think that's going to come in. I told you, if you remember many times, the Ukrainians will not be allowed to have access to the Black Sea. Why? Because NATO wants the Black Sea. NATO has the military base right here near Constanza. NATO wants here. So if these guys will not have, this is going to be the Russian border right here. From here, like that, like this, go here in Romania. This is the Danube River, 3 arms here. Going to be here, and I don't know exactly what's going to happen with Moldova. Moldova be given to these mafiosis in Romania, I don't know yet. Or the Russians will say, actually, our border should be at the Carpathian Mountains right here, as Stalin said. Because when Stalin said, I want Moldova or Bessarabia, half of it, he said, actually, I'm nice because I could take that too, up to here. It's where we're supposed to be. All right, so next, let's go to these robbers. Sputnik. European Union moves $4.7 billion from frozen Russian assets to Ukraine. All right, frozen meaning taken, frozen. What do you mean to freeze them? Who are you to freeze them, and based on what? I would like to see the law, the international law that allows them to freeze someone's money. And you're not part of the conflict. Now I understand if Russia would be at war with the European Union, goes without saying, I take your shit. And the other way is true for the Russians. But you're not part of the war. Why didn't Bangladesh froze Russia's assets in Bangladesh or in Honduras or somewhere else? Why the European Union? Why only? Do you think only they are moral? Do you think only they say, oh my God, everybody else, they don't understand international law. We are the pinnacle of morality on this planet. No. It's illegal, my friends, and they will give it to someone else, to Ukraine. I mean, this is double rape, let's put it this way. And in the same context, Europe may decide on Russian assets in the coming days. British expert, all right, 2 hours ago, today on the 1st of October, and this is 9 hours ago. So this was the first one, and then this is the second one. So what do you think happens? This is what's going to happen. The European Union, they wanted to say they're going to use the money as retribution for Russian attack on Ukraine. Well, it's not for you to decide that, European Union. Maybe it's for an international body that can decide it, like United Nations or something else could decide that, but not you. You understand? Because it's like you fight with a neighbor and you have another neighbor that, I don't know, you give that neighbor some money with interest. Let's say you are you know what I mean, in the Middle Ages, you give that money like over there with some interest, and he says, you know, because you attack him, I will take your money that you lended to me, the money I borrowed, and I'm going to give it to your enemy. What would you do? I tell you what I would do. I would go to his house, I will punch him in the face and say, I'm going to grab you. What exactly? I have nothing I want. Anyway, but that's at least a payback. This is robbery. Under what kind of reason? You are not. The European Union does not have any authority of judge, of a tribunal. You understand? You have no authority. Now, if you say it's because of moral authority, about moral authority, many people should be bang bang. Remember, you have the example of Yugoslavia, you have an example of Saddam Hussein, Iraq, you have Afghanistan, you have Libya, you have Syria, you have Iran, you have many countries that were attacked by these good people. So in the name of morality, a lot of people should be, just bang, bang, boom, boom, if we go by that. That's why we make laws. And according to those laws, we reach a verdict, and then if we have an enforcing arm, then we enforce that. In this case, if United Nations would have said, yes, you should this because we found that the Russians are like this, and that's it, and you are entitled to do it. But it wasn't like that at all. It's useless for me to continue saying these guys are part of the war. The Russian response will come. Will come. Not only reciprocal. The Russians are not forgetting. The Russians, as someone said, who was that? Who said, if you take the Russians' land, one day they will come to claim it back. They will not forget. So the same here. Thank you very much for being with me again today. These guys are going to smack the Europeans, but I think you shouldn't kick someone when he's down, if you're moral, because I think the European Union is a dying continent. It's a dying, unfortunately, entity. So why should you kick it when it's already done? Just let the Americans destroy them completely, finalize the destruction of the European Union. Destruction by taking over, and then they do whatever they want, whatever their bosses want. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.